Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss the economic contributions of paddling on the Kentucky River in Clark, Fayette, and Madison counties. First, I'd like to introduce you to the researchers on this study. My name is Dr. James Maples. I received my PhD at the University of Tennessee in 2012. Today, I'm an associate professor of sociology at Eastern Kentucky University. My colleague on this study is Dr. Michael Bradley. Michael received his PhD at Oklahoma State in 2012. And he's now an associate professor of recreation and park administration at Eastern Kentucky University. Together, Michael and I have worked on many studies looking at the economic contributions and activities of outdoor recreation across the state and nation. Today's study looks specifically at paddling, which includes activities such as canoeing, stand-up paddleboard use, and kayaking. And this study is going to examine the economic contributions and impacts of paddling visitation specifically in pools 9 and 10 of the Kentucky River. Now, to go ahead and discuss the major findings of this study, we found that visiting paddlers annually contributed an estimated $200,000 to our local economy. And this supports $96,000 in local wages for workers here in Clark, Fayette, and Madison County. We find with support and with correct policy, this could grow to nearly 250,000 wages by 2029. We discuss these results later in the study. The Kentucky River flows across 260 miles of the Commonwealth. The Kentucky River begins at the conjunction of three forks, the North Fork, the Middle Fork, and the South Fork, located near Beattyville. It then terminates in the Ohio River at Carrollton. In recent years, the river, particularly at pools 9 and 10, have seen an increase in paddling visitation. Recently, the Kentucky River was recognized by the Kentucky House of Representatives as a vital source of economic development, water, and tourism. Furthermore, the Kentucky House of Representatives is encouraging the Kentucky River Authority to facilitate increased use of this extraordinary resource. This includes paddling in pools 9 and 10. As such, in this study, we propose to look at the economic expenditures for this group, both now and in the future. Now, the first part of any economic study is to establish a study area. A study area encapsulates the activity that you're examining, along with the areas where visitors engaging in that activity are likely to spend money because of their visit. Pools 9 and 10 do touch parts of Clark and Madison counties. For this study, we have set our study area as Clark, Fayette, and Madison because we felt that these are the three areas where we're likely to see expenditures. Table 1 on this slide shows some of the information about this local economy. But of course, we can understand that the inclusion of Fayette County has actually skewed some of these numbers larger than they might otherwise be. To collect data for this study, we surveyed 196 persons who are paddling in this study area, specifically in pools 9 and 10. The survey was offered in two formats. There was an in-person format and an online format. This was to ensure that we could get wide coverage of users and visitors in this area. Our survey examined economic expenditures, such as things like how much was spent on lodging and food, use patterns, which includes locations or rivers they may have visited while here, and also basic demographics on who paddlers are for this area. Using data from this survey, researchers were able to create mean expenditure figures that are used to estimate economic contributions in the study area. Table 2 summarizes these expenditures. Note that any lodging expenditures only account for persons who are staying overnight. The remaining figures account for everyone. Now, as paddling gear rentals were not covered in the survey, we did include a flat amount based on local information on what paddling rentals may have looked like. These mean variables are carefully created. One of the most important practices with economic studies is to make sure to clean the data to prevent overestimations. This means getting rid of any cases that may cause these mean figures you see in the table beside the text here to be higher than they should actually be. For example, we followed Forest Service practices in removing cases that had large group sizes, 8 or larger, persons with overly high expenditures, or even really long stays that disproportionately would increase these numbers. Now, the accompanying report that goes with this video fully explores these various steps that are done, but the end goal is to make sure that we have reliable, conservative estimates on what expenditures would look like for a person coming to this area in order to engage in paddling and the amounts that they would spend as a result of their visit on a typical trip. When creating economic estimates, we use IMPLAN. IMPLAN stands for Impacts for Planning. IMPLAN is used to analyze what happens when visitors spend the money that we're examining in the study area and how this changes the local economy. For this particular study, we examined how paddler expenditures support local wages. Now, these subsequent tables that you will see for economic activity are going to include other categories, and we've included those just as references for those who are interested. But we're going to focus on local wages because this is a very conservative measure of their contribution. Now, based on the mean expenditures in a previous table, and based on visitation estimates of paddlers to this area, and looking only at persons who don't live in the study area, we estimate that visiting paddlers contributed around $200,000 as a result of them visiting paddling opportunities here in pools 9 and 10 in Kentucky. When we model what these expenditures do in the local economy, we find that this translates to around $96,000 in local wages that support workers right here in places like Clark, Madison, and Fayette Counties. Although it's not listed on the table, we also found that paddlers are supporting around $6,700 in state and local taxes. As I mentioned earlier in our presentation, we're not only thinking about what economic expenditures look like today, but we're also thinking about what they may look like in 10 years. On the tables on the left of this slide, you'll see that we've actually modeled with an increase in visitation of 10% annually, which is reasonable and possible with the policy suggestions we give later in this presentation. We modeled what visitation expenditures and economic contributions might look like in the year 2022 and the year 2029. As a note, these were crafted before COVID was an issue, so COVID may actually impact this visitation in the future, and that is not accounted for in this study. Now, our original estimates for what labor income might look like in 2022 was an increase to around $130,000. With adequate support and encouraging paddling in this area, by 2029, this could be closer to $250,000 in local wages. That's a very valuable contribution to our local economy. Now, as part of our survey, we did ask paddlers what other kind of activities that they engaged in the area. For example, we asked what kind of paddling they were using while here. By and far, kayaks were the most popular, followed by canoes. We also looked at some of the areas that they were visiting. For example, the Red River was very popular, as was Boone Creek. We also found, too, that the majority of paddlers, or nearest to the majority of paddlers, were coming to Fort Boonesboro in some form, whether that was to visit the state park itself or to visit the campground. Lower Howards Creek Nature Preserve was also a very popular visitation area. Further, we asked paddlers to tell us about what other activities that they would regularly engage in while visiting pools 9 and 10. Walking and hiking were the most common thing, but as you look through, you'll see that there's a couple of themes that begin to emerge. For example, paddlers seem to enjoy immersing themselves in a natural area and relaxing in that environment. We also found that paddlers appear to be regular users of other kinds of outdoor recreation. For example, hiking was very popular, but so was fishing. And we even see, with the proximity to the Red River Gorge, a world-class climbing destination, we see that climbing was even a popular activity. As for the demographics of the paddlers visiting this area, We find that paddlers here are largely well-educated persons with middle to upper class incomes. This is actually a very common finding for outdoor recreation communities across the United States. And it's notable that around 1 in 5 people completing this survey who are paddlers indicated that they owned their own business. This too is a common finding amongst outdoor recreation users. In thinking about how we might apply these results to the local communities, Michael and I have come up with several policy suggestions. First, we strongly encourage the paddling community here to maintain access points. For outdoor recreation users, being able to access the area where they plan to recreate is critical. As such, it's important for the surrounding community, both paddlers and people interested in supporting this economic activity, to make sure that paddlers are able to access the river to actually engage in paddling. This includes keeping existing access points open, as well as considering where new ones may be added. Second, we suggest that the community conduct a We Are Here teamwork campaign. This involves local businesses, paddlers, and people supporting this community, local tourism groups, and even local government working together to let paddlers across the United States and across the globe know that you are here, that pools 9 and 10 offer extraordinary paddling opportunities. By working together, this helps to spread news about this thriving, extraordinary community and this amazing paddling opportunity we have right here on the Kentucky River. Something that is in line with what the House of Representatives is certainly thinking about for the Kentucky River and its future. Third, we also encourage you to utilize free marketing strategies as part of this We Are Here campaign. This includes things like users engaging in Instagram, sharing pictures of this area and of people engaging in paddling. Fourth, we encourage the community and paddlers as a whole to continue supporting any festivals related to the river in this area. Currently, there are festivals happening in this area, as well as a paddling-oriented festival each year. Continuing to support these is a very valuable thing, as well as looking at possible other festivals that might be added. The researchers also suggest identifying things that could deter paddlers and then find innovative solutions to these problems. Anything that stands as a barrier between an outdoor recreation user and the area in which they want to recreate creates a situation that they may choose to simply go other places. As such, if there are things happening on this area of the Kentucky River and in these pools that might cause people to go elsewhere, it would be beneficial to the community to think about innovative ways that they might overcome those activities and encourage paddlers to continue coming to the area. Based on the findings in this study, we also encourage cross-pollination. Consider other kinds of outdoor recreation types that paddlers regularly might engage in, such as hiking, cycling, mountain biking. Find areas where you can support each other's interests. That may be in the form of opening access points that also include an area for cyclists, or even including mountain bike trails, or if the opportunity is available, even having access to a climbing area. By cross-pollinating, this not only brings outdoor recreation users to the area, but creates additional expenditures from their visits, and also encourages the idea that other people may know about the amazing resource here that's available for paddlers. Finally, we encourage the community to consider paddlers who may want to consider relocating here and encouraging them to think about new businesses that could support this paddling community. Recall again, it's a common finding in outdoor recreation studies that outdoor recreation users are business owners, entrepreneurs, people who want to create local jobs. Moreover, it's been found in many situations that outdoor recreation users are willing to uproot their lives in one place and move entirely across the nation to start a life in a new area to be closer to the outdoor areas in which they want to recreate. Given the proximity of the Kentucky River to the Red River Gorge and to all the amazing things that are available right here in Eastern Kentucky, this is a very viable scenario. As such, we encourage the community to support this and to consider new businesses that can not only create new jobs, but also generate new tax dollars and support a growing paddling economy. The authors on this study would like to thank several people for their support. First off, we appreciate the Clark Neighborhood Foundation for supporting this study, as well as Eastern Kentucky University, Center for Economic Development, Entrepreneurship, and Technology at EKU, and the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Thank you for listening into our presentation today. If you would be interested in conducting economic research in your region, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you so much.